welcome to another episode of Mommy Mondays, where we talk about motherhood journeys, lifestyle, what we're doing as mothers, and it's just a safe space to really share resources, our hardships, our tenacity, our resilience, and I'm just loving that this is a live show here at the Fairmont Innovation Lab. Come on down if you have not and you plan to come. We're going to be doing some um, podcasting, podcasting all day until 7. But today, my first guest for Mommy Mondays here at the live show is Amanda Shea.
Hey y'all, hey.
If you don't know her, like she said in her promo, she is an artist. You've probably seen her everywhere, doing her poetry, her music. And I'm just so happy to have you on.
Happy to be here. Honored to be on.
And I didn't know you were a mom. And so that's the thing. I didn't know you were a mom. And so
mad people say that to me. I think it's because I don't necessarily put my kids on like social media and stuff. I definitely talk about them in interviews and I definitely shout them out during performances. But I don't really show my kids like that. And it's weird because like I love people who do it because like I said, I'm like, I know Avery. I see him on, you know what I'm saying, social media and whatnot. Look, he's like, yeah, I do. And that's cool. Like if people want to do that, I respect it. At the same time, I don't know, as I gotten older, I feel like I want to be more private. Not only that, but you know, people do recognize you a lot around the city and
yes,
you know, a couple of years ago, I had some weird experiences where like people would see me out or like driving my car, and then they would like DM me or something and be like, "Yo, was that you over there in the blue car on Melanie and Cass?" And I'm like, yeah, like run it down, like in the tag. It was weird, so I was just like, yeah, that was me. Oh, I thought it was you. I should have said hi. And I'm like, but why didn't you? But you run in my DM. It was just like really weird for me. So I was just like, yo, I had to take a step back and be like, if people recognize me, that's one thing, but like, do I want people necessarily walking up to my kids like, yo, I know you from the internet, like I know your mom, da da da. I don't know if I want that, and my kids are very introverted. Well, Jaden's introverted, he's 14, that's my Sag baby. And Eric is a Pisces, he's 18, so he's more like extroverted, but Jaden's just like real chill for that, so it's like, I just wanted to keep that part of my life private. And relationships too, I ain't even gonna hold you, like,
yeah.
I want to keep my relationships private. So like, I'm single, but if I get into a relationship, y'all might not know. I'm
And
just
that's
saying,
more than
y'all
fine.
might not know.
That's your prerogative.
Might be a little hand in the picture somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to know. But yeah, I feel like, you know, we give so much as artists in our art and our craft every day. Certain things just gotta stay private, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand that and I respect that so
Thank
much,
you.
especially because you're just around the city so much, like, you know? And so if, for people that don't know, can you talk a little bit about what your creative art is, what you're doing around the city, and some things that you're involved in?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I've been an artist in the city for some time now. I don't live here. I mean, I live here now, but I'm not from Boston. Most people think I am, but I've been here for like 16 years, and I owe Boston a lot. I think that's why I put it on my back so much, and I run around the city in the ways that I do because I found my identity here. I found culture here. I found real education here, and I found real community here. So for me, like my art is spoken word poetry, visual art, now music. I'm like,
It always evolves, you know?
Yeah, I'm still nervous even saying that, but yeah, it's here. And I'm a curator too. I do a lot of different things. I feel like anything that's arts related, I'm just trying to jump into. I feel like I'm an Aquarius, so I'm an air sign, so I be all over the place all the time. So I feel like it just fuels everything that I love to do. I'm actually curating 2 shows currently right now. Oh my gosh. They're on the same day too.
Oh, wow.
June 18th, come see us at the Emancipator Juneteenth celebration at Slade's from 5 to 7, and then come check us out at Nubian Gallery for the Juneteenth Poetry Slam done for DD's organization at Nubian Gallery from 7:30 to 11 o'clock. So they're the same day. So I like doing it all. Like I don't shy away from anything new. I don't like being put in a box. So like I'll try anything once, twice. Well, like really 3 times. Cause you know you gotta you gotta weigh it out. You know what I'm saying? There's balance. But yeah, like that's just some of what I do. I host. Last night I was just with a really dope organization called 617 Peak that caters to arts and bringing music and arts to the youth. And we just had 241 kids at Hyperion Hall.
Amazing.
Like killing it. Like we had like 20 of them on the set list. It was nuts. And it's just a beautiful thing. Like when you're around energy like that, how can you not like be motivated and
it's just
inspired?
amazing. You just kind of fit in every space, you know.
Try to.
You fit in every space because just the TCP students that were up here, they just got off the podcast and she's like embracing them, like, oh yeah, this last night. So I'm just like, you just know everybody, okay?
Okay, so like, I don't know everybody. I keep saying that, and people be like, yes, you do. No, I don't. I really do be meeting like people I've never seen before, like ever. Like it happens all the time. So I don't know everybody, but it's cool. Like,
well, it speaks to your energy. It speaks to your energy.
It's what I get.
Welcoming and you know, inclusive, and obviously the youth love you as well. So let's bring it back to, you know, you being a mom. You know, we know you for your artistry and stuff, and can you just take us back to being a first-time mom, what that was like, and you know, just the transition of actually getting into your creative space on a full-time basis, because it wasn't always that way.
Absolutely not. Wow. I ain't gonna tell my age, but y'all gonna know my age. But I ain't gonna tell you it. Okay, cool. So like, I got pregnant, and I'm gonna be super transparent. Just
Please, that's what I'm
letting y'all know, even people in the audience right now. Like, I'm very, very transparent with my experiences. So if I trigger anyone with my stories, I apologize. I'm just trying to tell y'all my journey. I actually got pregnant when I was 18. Actually, I really got, to be completely fair, I got pregnant when I was 14 years old. My first ever pregnancy. At the time, my mom had all authoritarian rights over me because I wasn't, 18 of legal age. So she actually made me abort the baby. I was 5.5 months pregnant, and it was a really painful experience. And I don't know, something about going through something like that and you not really having a choice, really is a different type of trauma I don't even know how to put into words. So for me, motherhood, I always wanted to be a mom because I felt like that ability or that opportunity was robbed from me. I understand why my mom did what she did. My mom had me at 15. My grandmother had her at 17. My great-grandmother had her at 15. So we come from a generation of young moms, teen moms, babies basically raising babies. So I understood why my mom felt like that was her way of like breaking a generational curse.
Yes.
What she didn't expect, I feel, is like the autonomy and the respect and the love I would have over my body or not have over my body after something like that. So I always wanted to be a mom. And when I got pregnant at 19 with my son Eric, my mom actually had my sister like a year prior to me having my son. So when I saw my sister, be born and all that, it was just like, wow, like I want this for real, and I think I'm ready for this for real. And that's a whole nother story. I almost took custody of my sister because my mom wasn't at it, and they took the baby away from her and put her in foster care for the first 5 months of her life. So that was really tough to see, and because I was underage at the time, I couldn't take custody of her. So like going through that and then realizing I was pregnant, I was just like, yeah, nah, like I'm gonna be a better mother than I've ever seen in my life. No shade to my mother, I love her to death. It was just like some of the decision making she had made just really wasn't good decision making at all. And some of it wasn't even in her control. Being an addict, it's really, really hard to control your life, never mind raise a child and upbring them in a healthy environment in that way. So when I got pregnant with Eric, I was overjoyed. I was scared as hell. And it was one day I was watching this TV show, Maury. I know we all know Maury.
Oh, Corey.
And I remember this story like stuck with me, and it changed my like perspective of parenthood completely. This woman actually was trying to find out who the father of her child was, and the grandmother was on the show, the mother of the man, and he had passed away in a car accident. So like just watching that emotion of like this woman really wanting this man to be the father, and this grandmother having that piece of the legacy of her son that she just lost. Woo! I was like I was like 6 months pregnant. I was in tears, and I was like, yo. At the time, me and my oldest son's father were in a healthy relationship. I was like, yo, what if that would happen to him?
Yeah.
How am I gonna raise this kid by myself? Because I'm literally just making $7 an hour. I work at Domino's Pizza. Like, I'm 19 years old. I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I don't have no idea how financially I could do it. Nonetheless, if he was to, pass away, so it really changed like my whole ideology of like what motherhood should be. So I was just like, nah, I gotta go to school. I gotta set an example. So I enrolled in college. I actually got my GED. I enrolled in college. I got my degree, all that stuff, and they changed my life. I keep saying that. Like, having kids changed my life. I was really, really in a bad space as a kid. I was very angry. I had abandonment issues. I was very trauma filled. I was trauma bonding with certain friends. I was in a household with an addict. I was being more of the parent than I was being parented. So for me, it was just like, nah, I want the betterment for this kid. Like, he didn't ask to be here. He's just here. And now it's my responsibility to make sure he has the best, upbringing as possible. And I think that's how I kind of learned my parenting style, was do everything opposite of what I saw, which is good and bad too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that too, because so often we subconsciously make that decision to, I want to be so different than my mom. I want to be so different than my father, or whoever has been that guiding figure to us. And, do you feel like you accomplished that, to do something totally different than your mom? Do you see any similarities as you became older? We're unlearning as we grow, and we're healing as we grow. And sometimes we're thinking we're making the right decision or the totally opposite decision.
Absolutely.
And it becomes like, maybe I am, repeating something.
Ooh. Oh, we going to church today.
Yes.
It's a whole.
Amen.
Oh, Shea. Amen. Do I see similarities? Absolutely. I think being raised by my mom, and let me just preface by saying, like, my mom has been clean for now 18 years, so I just want to give, like, snaps and claps to her for that, because I told you I wasn't going to tell y'all my age, but,
It's all right.
because I'm not, you know what I'm saying, but, yeah, most of my life, was really hard, but, she ended up getting my sister back and stuff, and she's, like, a totally different mom now. Like, me and my brother joke all the time, like, yo, she got the best version, and like, that's cool. And having to deal with that and seeing that in real time, it's like, you feel a way sometimes, like, but you're also like, nah, actually, I needed that type of mother to raise me to be who I am. So I see similarities as far as like attitude. I'm still very much OCD when it comes to cleanliness. I be getting on my sons all the time. I see similarities like that. But for the most part, I feel like I'm completely different than what my mom was, which is, again, a blessing. And I think even just being an artist and like going into that lane, ooh, way different. I remember my brother telling me I was gonna be homeless, and he was right. And I think me taking that leap and those risks like allows my kids to kind of understand that they can take risks and it be okay. So like, for instance, my son Eric is about to, well, he's 18, he's about to be 19. He's about to go off to college. Now he's doing some stuff that I would never like want him to do. Like, he wants to do electrician, like be an electrician. I'm like, okay, cool, but like, you really good at art, and like, you're really good at drawing. Like, why wouldn't you want to get into like animation or something? Because now I'm an artist. I'm like, I just want y'all to be artists.
Exactly.
you know, but I feel like I've loosened or I've lessened the expectations of my kids. I treat them like they're people. I didn't have choices when I was a child. I just had to, I come from black family. Like, you gotta do what you say and ain't no back talk. I didn't have autonomy over my body and the things that I wore and the ways in which, or the family members that I wanted to hug or kiss. I didn't have those luxuries. So now I like, even with COVID, like I was just at the physical with my son the other day, and they were like, "What do you want to do about the vaccine?" And I'm just like, "That's on him. Why y'all asking me?"
Mm-hmm.
And doctor looks at me and was like, "But you have," and I said, "But it's his body." You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like my experience at 14 going through that allowed me to see, like, even though they're my kids, I don't own them. They're not my possession. They're their own people. They don't act the same, completely different. Their minds work differently, their personalities are different. So I have to give them autonomy over their own decisions, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Whether that be school, relationships, whatever, they gotta learn on their own. I'ma always be mama and be here. But I'm also not gonna enable them either.
Right. I
You
love that.
gotta make your own free will choices. Like, it's your life, not mine.
I love that, and I love that you're actually giving them the freedom and the tools, by watching you, and the decisions that you're making to make the greatest decisions that they need to for their own selves and their lives and their bodies. Just by being an artist, like what I've personally seen, um, through your poetry, through your performances, your hosting, you're widely known for, healing. Healing, healing through spoken word, healing through, just your art, and your presence. And that's what I feel when we first met. I didn't know you was gonna be on Mummy Mondays, but that's just what I got from you. Um, how would you say that like journey of healing through your art has like helped you even as a mother?
Um, I think shadow work is important. And I also think that dissecting like your childhood is so real. I wish I would have started this journey a long time ago because it definitely helps me be a better parent. But my art is a way of healing. Like, I use my art as a form of healing for me because, again, I'm an Aquarius. I keep a lot of things tucked in. It's also part of how I was raised. I was always scared to use my voice, and being a black woman in America, we're used to being silenced. You know what I mean? So I always kept like my feelings tucked. I wouldn't say nothing until like it got crazy, and I'm like, all right, and then people be like, whoa. And it's like, well, yeah, well, I've been letting it ride like this whole time, and I just got tired of having these explosions or even just being dismissive of certain behaviors and how people treated me. So I put it in my art, and I talk about a multitude of things, but I feel like once I put it out in the world, it's like a weight has been lifted off of me. It's no longer in my body, it's no longer attached to my spirit. And people, if y'all want to judge me, cool, but like judge me off of what I'm saying and not what the person down the street is saying about me. This is my truth, whether you like it or not. And the first time I experienced that was with my family, my own family. Like, I wrote a poem called Origin, and it talks about the racism in my family. I am very multiracial. I am Portuguese, I am Cape Verdean, I am Puerto Rican, and I am Trinidadian. So like, I come from the diasporas, but it's also hard to be like in a colonized body, right? Because if anybody knows their history, they know in Portugal, like they were slave and all that. So for me, like having that racism within my own family hurt a lot because that's where you first get accepted, is in your home. That's how you learn these things. And then it's like social acceptance once you go to school and you integrate and all this other stuff. But like, they was mad because I said something about it. And I'm like, nah, but this is my truth though. Y'all was racist against my mama and my grandmother, because my grandmother had my mother with a black man. She was the first one to come out of like no Portuguese bloodline at all. So they was already giving her hell because my mom was light skinned. But when I came, it was very evident, like, oh, yeah, she black, and my mom was 15. it was just a lot of stuff going on. I was never wanted in the womb. So that was really hard to understand. Like, I'm in a teenage body, like creating, like growing, and I got all this hate and my mom's feelings and how she feels rejected. So they got pissed and they said something about it, like, we're not racist. And I said, I didn't say y'all were. And a lot of it was from my aunties and uncles. My grandmama was having kids after she had kids after she had kids. So some of my aunties are older than me, younger than me, I'm just saying. So it's like, they were getting mad, and I'm like, but y'all were kids too when we were going through this. So instead of being so defensive about it and being like, we're not racist, I have black friends, well, I mean, there's that. You told on yourself on social media. But also it's like, yo, you wouldn't feel so defensive if you just took a step back and actually looked at it from the perspective of where I'm coming from and understand what you were seeing and what you were witnessing. But that's not on you. Like, that, if you want to do that work, but that's not on me. I'm gonna tell the truth, and my mom's over here caping like, nah, the whole family was not accepting me or my daughter. That's a real thing. So for me, once I put that out there and I saw the backlash from my own family members, because I was telling them the truth, I was like, yo, I don't care what it is. And I told my kids to do the same thing. You always speak your truth, always speak your mind, no matter who is in the room. I don't care. We don't switch up. There's no more code switching over here. We're not doing that. We're living authentically. And a lot of people don't understand what that really actually means, because for a while I thought I was living authentic, and come to find out I wasn't. I was portraying things that I thought people wanted to see me as.
When did you feel like you weren't living authentically?
When I got put into the shelter, and when my son's father was here and he was an addict. He went through that for 5 years, and nobody knew. And I'm over here doing all these poems, and nobody knew that I'm going home to this, or this was on my mind, or that my son is experiencing this behind closed doors. Another way was when I went into the shelter, and 2 days before I'm getting placed into the shelter, I'm on 96.9 with Pebbles, like the Pebbles, like Pebbles. Like, I grew up listening to Pebbles. So here I am with this legend, getting interviewed about my art and about my performance, and like acting like everything is cool, and it wasn't. I'm about to go into a shelter, and I just committed my husband into a detox program. Like, what?
But it's okay. Usually when we're going through the hardest storms, that's when the light hits. And so, that was the sign. You sitting down with, Pebbles, that was the ascension, the sign of the ascension.
That was the first piece of it. And then I think the second piece was like community harm. And I'm gonna talk about it. Like, and how complacent we are when we hear about harm happening in our communities, and we don't say nothing due to fear of being blackballed, or fear of people not wanting to put you on, or fear talking about your gossiping or whatever. Like, nah, like, that's not authentic. If I say protect black women, or I say, yo, this person has been harmed, that's what happened. Like, I talking about it and not being about it. And once I started seeing certain things happening, and even instances I knew about, and I'm like, so I'm gonna just mind my business. It's like, nah, like, for what? I'm gonna mind my business knowing that somebody is detrimentally affected over here. I'm also preaching restorative and transformative justice and all this healing and love and good vibe energy. But when I see some things go down, I stay silent. I'm complacent. Like, nah, that's not authentic. My art is not a facade. I'm not here preaching things that I think people want to hear. This is my truth. This is what I'm witnessing in my society, and this is what I go through. So I'm gonna preach the truth. My art isn't imitating my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. My life is imitating my art, to be real, because this is my real journey. So for me, I just, between those certain things and being in a DV relationship and having it witnessed in the community, and people pointing fingers back at me like, oh, well, it's on you too. And I'm like, but I'm being harmed and nobody's saying nothing. I'm being harmed and nobody is saying anything. Y'all watch me come back with bruises and nobody says nothing. Why am I isolated in this? And then it's like, oh, well, it's your fault, you keep going back. I'm in an abusive relationship, what you mean? How do you get out of that cycle? People need support in those instances. When I was homeless and my husband was going through addiction, there was folks around me who knew it. Only the real ones who are still here provided safety and was like, yo, what do you need? Do you need to stay with us for a little while? What does your son need? How can we help you? That's support. Not like knowing that somebody on the brink of like a breakdown and you just watch it. It's like watching somebody get hit by a car and you just drive by. Like, where did we lose the humanity? Everybody's become desensitized. And everybody's scared of being canceled and cancel culture. Like, I don't care, you gotta cancel me because I'm telling the truth or I'm standing on something, then do it. I don't care. At least I get to go home at night and sleep good. That's what we talk about when we talk about integrity. That's what we talk about when we talk about selling our soul. People think it's just dollars, but it's not. It's really like selling your soul, like for real. It's your integrity that gets jeopardized. Period. Period. So for me, I knew I was being not real to myself. I knew I was being fake to people around me. I've caused a lot of harm. I was doing a lot of things that were toxic and not good. And instead of having some people around me didn't hold a reflection up and be like, yo, you didn't hold me accountable. And I'm like, yeah, nah, like, I don't want to be like that. I want to stand on what's right. I'm not always going to be right. But if I feel it in my spirit, how can it be wrong?
Yeah. And I love that you shared that too. That you don't feel like you was always authentic and real with yourself, because that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Like, I think the buzzword is, being authentic and putting your story out there, but really with Social Digital Mommy Mondays, this is really the time and the place to put it all out there. Be transparent and bear it all. But I think we have to go through a journey of actually knowing if we're being real or not, if that makes sense. And I feel like you had to go through what you went through to be like, am I really giving my full story?
Or to the kids.
Exactly.
And like, what am I showing my children? Because like, they're watching all these things transpire. They're old enough to also understand what these things are. So am I perpetuating these ideologies and this type of behavior and this treatment to them too? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't do that because I know how long it took me to come out of my trauma from what I witnessed and what I went through with my mom. You know what I mean? I don't want them to have years of therapy, and there's nothing wrong with therapy. I'm an advocate of therapy. I have a therapist now. So it's like, I just don't want them to have to go through that because their mother took them through the ringer, and now they've internalized all this stuff, and now they gotta exercise it out. Like, that's not the type of parent I want to be.
You mentioned, relationships, and with motherhood, we know that, it's not the Virgin Mary out here. We've become mothers by, having relationships with, the child's, father and stuff like that. How has that gone? What are some things that you have gone through as of recently that you're still kind of digging yourself out of and learning and navigating through? If you could just share that with everyone.
Oh, relationships. So like, I have 2 kids with 2 different partners. And I think like that was also hard to kind of like wrap my mind around too, because I always envision like, I think most of us do, like the ideal family, because that's what we're taught to think. But anyways.
Societal norm.
Right, because you could still have a 2-parent household without being in the same household. You know what I'm saying? And that's what co-parenting is all about. I feel like for me, the second time with Jaden and Tim, like, I was married. Like, I thought I was done, like, with relationships up until a couple years ago. Even me and Tim were together for 16 years. We went through a lot of stuff, and I know that the boys witnessed all of that stuff. Like, Tim has gone to jail, has been in a gang, was an alcoholic, an addict. Like, there was a lot of different transitions that he went through as a person. Good man, though. I will always say that. Very good man, loving father. But he had his stuff that he had to go through, and just like I did. And I feel like that dynamic together for a while was so unhealthy for the boys, you know? And once we separated and then decided to like come back into a relationship, we was just like, yo, we gotta get real like strong in our commitment and be real healthy. We started going to therapy, we started doing couple counseling, all those things. And we ended up getting married. Um, and I thought it was that was it. Like we were good, you know. And you know, obviously he got hurt on the job and got prescribed prescription drugs, and the rest from that is kind of history. Dating after him was really difficult because we've been legally married this entire time. So it's like, how are you separated from your husband and you're dating other people? It's just, and bringing those people around children. You know, Tim dated other women. He actually dated like 3 other women, seriously dated. And like my kids were around them and stuff. And like for a while, you know, I didn't like that because I'm just like, well, what kind of structure? And like, this isn't, but that was jealousy and, you know, all that other stuff that we sometimes go through when we're still in love with someone. And even me, like, I never took a step back to be like, is this person a good person, like a good example? Like, do I want this person around my child? Like, giving them advice, showing them how to do certain things, et cetera, guiding them. I didn't do that until after this last relationship, where I was in a DV relationship. I'm gonna just call it what it is. And I think having that type of relationship and having my youngest son at the time, because Eric is now living with his dad in Rhode Island, seeing Jaden like experience that with me, like there's no words for that, you know, and him really loving the person I was with and being conflicted inside, like, but I really like this person's super cool, but they hurt my mother and I can see what's going on. So now, like I said before, like I've been single. I don't have any intention on bringing somebody else around them. Partnership and family for them. It was always about, you know, am I in love with them? Do I like them? Are they, you know? It was never about bringing them into a family structure with
Blended.
Yeah, not at all. Once me and Tim had split, it was kind of like, well, this is it. Like, he's gonna be over here. This is their fathers. And I would always tell, you know, they don't need no stepdad. They don't need no stepmom. Like, y'all just, for those who didn't catch that, I'm queer as hell and happy Pride Month. So for me, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I don't want you to try to step into a role of where you think you need to fit. Just like love them as people, but again, I really want to take my time and be intentional. And I think that after everything I've just went through with them and my kids and me, especially losing another parent, like it's hard without trying to cry, without crying because it's hard. Like my mom's in the hospital. I just got that call today. Like, I'm in my late 30s, so for me, that's my parent. I can't envision what that feels like from a son at 13 to lose his dad. And I think the first thing I thought about when it happened was like, damn, like not another black baby with no daddy. Like we have too many of those as it is. So it's hard. As a mom, you feel kind of like inadequate a little bit, you know? Like I can never compensate for what his loss is. I can never do that. And he's so much like him. He is like the spitting image of him. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna let you, catch your breath. Thank you for being so transparent.
Thanks, y'all. I told y'all I wasn't trying to
Yeah,
cry.
no.
It's difficult. And I'm watching his resiliency. I want to talk about Jaden in this time because
Let's just be clear on who
Jaden is my youngest son. This is Tim's son.
And
Tim passed away in November. So it's still fresh. It's always going to be fresh.
Um, I grieved for 5 months. I couldn't do anything. But I watched my son almost like embrace it differently. Like, he was sad, obviously. It was really down and out. But I think his mindset was, life is too short. I have to grab onto everything. My son is very introverted. He's super, super quiet. He don't mess with a lot of people. He's very much just, it's my world, and if I let you in, you can come in type of person. But I watched him like go out with friends and, you know, kid got a girlfriend. I don't like it. She cool, but I don't like it. He's too young. But he got a little girlfriend and stuff, and he be like taking her to the movies and stuff, and he wants to get a job and like all of these things, and I'm just like,
What's going on with his life?
who's this kid? Like, I think losing his dad, he realized like, I'm so in here, like I need to experience the world. And that was one of the main things that Tim would always say to him, like, go outside, go socialize. And I'd be like, why are you making him do these things that he clearly don't want to do? Like, this is just who he is as a person. And he was like, but Amanda, he needs people. Like, everybody need people. And I think Jaden did the opposite, like he did that. And then would still go to school. Like, I can't fathom like that at all, because I was just like, what? Like, my dog is lucky if I can get up off this couch and take her outside, okay? Like, I literally stopped everything, stopped answering my phone, stopped talking to people. And I'm kind of the opposite. Like, I'm introverted, but I could be very extroverted. That made me go into a shell. I isolated completely to the point where people were scared for me, because they were just like, you're in this really dark place with all this energy. And I'm like, I'm not in a dark place. I need to grieve him. And I need to remember all the lessons he told me. Because nothing, Tim went through so much things in his life that could have hardened him. And it didn't. He was still a sweet, kind, mindful, gentle person. And now here I am raising someone who's very much like him. I have to dig into those pieces of myself. And I have to isolate to be able to do that. And I'm still breathing. You know, I tell people, they be like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm okay right now, but if I'm crying in the next 5 minutes,
It's all right.
that's cool.
It's all right. November was so close. We haven't even come up on a year.
And his birthday's next month. He would have been 36 years old.
Wow. Well, just God bless you and kudos to you for, you know, just holding everything down.
My
You know.
son, he's giving me both of them are giving me the inspiration to keep going, for real.
What would be some of your advice for, you know, a mom that's watching who, you know, maybe her husband has passed away and, you know, you're left with kids? What is some of the advice that you would give?
Grieving isn't linear. Grieving is not linear. I would say, be honest with your kids. You know, sometimes as parents, we want to hide and protect them away from everything we're going through, because in our minds, we're like the superhero to them, you know? But I think what's really helped us, me and Jaden, is being honest in those moments with each other. You know, I talk about his dad, we talk about his dad a lot, and I let him know how I'm feeling, you know, and ask him how he's feeling. Don't be afraid to show those emotions, you know. He had came up to me right before I got up off the couch, and he said, Mom, said, you still want to go on tour, right? And I was like, what? And he was like, you still want to go on tour? You've been talking about this tour. He knows I've successfully done 2 to this date, and I've been planning a 3rd. And he goes, you know, it's time to get up now and do that. And I swear I looked at him and I was like, I can't right now. I'm still sad. And he goes, that's okay. It's okay to be sad, but you still gotta get up. Because Dad don't want you laying there. And it was that moment where I was like, I'm so happy I didn't hide. Because he's the one who got me up.
because even in our journeys and our struggles, they're for a reason. You know, they're for a reason to build us up, to build up our character, to build up our parenting and our motherhood.
Absolutely.
You know, we learn things about ourselves that we wouldn't had we not gone through it. So, even I love how you shared about your son, and you say you got to get up, but he's also doing the things that he didn't once do when his dad was alive. So, sometimes it's weird to say, but some things do have to happen in order for us to grow and go to the next dimension in our lives. So, kudos to you for getting up.
Thank you.
And I just wanted, we're gonna kind of wrap this up a little
Please
bit.
do, because I'm tired.
Thank you for being so transparent and
Thank you.
sharing some real
Thank
personal
you.
stuff with us today. I know it wasn't easy.
No, but you're easy to talk to, and you know we have a relationship, so you're just a mirror, and I tell you that all the time. Like,
Thank you.
when you be like, girl, I be seeing you and do this and that, like, I'm a mere reflection, because what you see in me is in you. So thank you for just having me up here. I always felt comfortable having a conversation with you and being honest, so thank you for just creating a safe space, a comfortable environment, and talking about this side of it.
Yeah.
You know, as artists, we're just going, and no one asks us, like, hey, like, how's your kids doing? Like, how's being a mom, like treating
Or how
you?
you really doing?
Yo,
Because as entrepreneurs, creatives, and any body that's in the public eye, we're running around doing all these things, and that's what people see. But in our personal lives, we got kids, we got relationships, we got people who are sick in our life, and so you never know what people are going through, and it's always just to Linda, how are you doing, and really mean it.
yeah, and be prepared to take the answer too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, we're gonna wrap this up. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about your kids?
Nah, I just love my babies.
Nice.
I love all my babies, and when I say that, I love my children, the ones from my womb. I love the babies out here in the community. Shout out again, 617P, TCP, BPS schools, like, for real. There's a lot of educators out here really trying to do the work, like, for real. Please support them. Just shout out Mission City. Shout out all the youth orgs that are here and around the city that are really just cultivating beautiful, beautiful experiences with these youth. I love kids. It's the youth that I do it for. It's not really the adults, to be real with y'all.
And that's real, because some people will say, like, oh, I love the kids, but I just saw all the kids come up to you. So that's for real. I was wondering if we could end on a lighter note. If you could perform something, say something that's on your heart, one of your spoken words.
Absolutely.
Great.
Oh wow. I'm gonna dedicate this to my mom, because it initially started out about my mom, and then it made me kind of like just branch out into like other mothers, other caregivers, other custodial parents out there, even foster parents. I want to make sure that I'm inclusive to all. And when I also say women, I mean trans women when I say that as well. It just started making me think about like experiences with losing children, or the societal institutional structures that we have to kind of break through all the time. So I wrote this piece. It's called Resilience. I'm gonna try not to cry through it. I feel like I've been crying this entire time, but
you cry, girl.
woo! But yeah, so go to my mama, y'all out there, who everybody watching. Please send prayers to my mother. Her heart is beating very slow right now, and they don't know what's going on with her, and she all the way in South Carolina. So I may not have to jump on a flight after here, but just send prayers and healing energy to my mother. Yeah, it's called Resilience. The saying goes, when the tough get going, the going get tough. I must have not had my mother. The scars she bears are invisible. Only those with the third eye could see. You see, her body is strong, agile, but weakened by her experiences. Black women are to only strive. No complaints. No check-ins, only checkups to ensure the body is intact. Heavy the head who wears the crown. The eyes slipping. Weight on her shoulders, she carries worlds around. We simply orbit in her universe, even when she's lost in her own space. But who will carry her burdens on me? Her anger, her depression, her anxiety, her bipolar, her lollipop. She don't need no partner, but society's price tags tells her different stories. Fairy tales unbeknownst to her for. She's a dollar in a dream mentality. Don't worry, I got this swag. I could do bad all by myself, no 2 cents to rub together, but she rubbed her meals. Who will nourish her soul? It's tired, been beaten, but not just by life, by family who cast her away, didn't want to help her right her wrongs, running away from generational trauma. She's out of breath. Panic attacks her nervous system. Like a baby she birthed, she says soon. Resentment. Black women overcome so many obstacles. And when asked, how are you? They reply. My mama replies. I reply. I'm fine. Thanks.
That was Amanda Shea, everybody. Healing through her art, sharing her art, you know, giving us life through her art. And I just thank you so much for being so transparent today.
Thank you.
Talking about your kids. I feel honored that you would talk on the Mummy Monday platform about your kids since you don't really, share those stories.
Of course.
So I feel very, very honored, and
Honored.
I'm rooting for you.
Likewise.
Rooting for you.
And everybody black.
Yes, rooting for you and everybody black, and I'm just excited to see what's next for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's hug. Thank y'all. I saw the audience filling up.
Yeah, hi everybody.